Welcome back to Just Here for the Beer Radio on TSN 1410. They're known as the Barley Boys, Garry and Pat. Welcome to Just Here for the Beer Radio, guys. How are you?
Fine, thanks. Thanks for having us here.
Well, we met you at one of our shows when we were recording at Big Rock Urban, and I was kind of fascinated because you guys have been doing this blogging thing, and you're not guys that come from a beer background. You're just a couple of buddies that have some time on your hands. You just thought, hell, let's just go and drink some beer.
You hit that right in the head, basically. Just a couple of guys noticing that there's a lot of online material, written material about the local craft brewery, and the thing is, the craft brewery industry is exploding, and we thought there's nothing kind of visual that's out there, so we thought, why not try something different? Go to the craft breweries, interview the principals, either the brewmasters or the owners of the place. Sometimes they're the same people, sometimes they're not, and get their backstories, basically. Yeah. Stories that weren't necessarily being told any other way, and certainly not in a visual format.
Well, as Rick and I have often talked about, Rick, there's no shortage of different stories and backstories on the people behind the beers, much like the winemakers. Everyone's kind of got their own tale to tell.
Well, and that's the interesting part, right? And everybody kind of sees the business side and the marketing and the branding, but you never really get to see the back end of things that happen. What's happening behind the closed doors, so to speak. And sometimes those are the funniest stories.
Everybody likes the sausage, but no one wants to see how it's made. And I think the same story when you go into some of the tank rooms around the various breweries. Some of them are pretty as a picture, some of them ain't. And some of the processes in which the mash is created and utilized and what have you. Have you found any that you were really impressed with? Any behind the scenes that you guys really thought was worth it?
I like them all. I think there's even the small guys. It's just it's even the gritty spots are kind of cool. You go in and they just take you in and show you how they're making it, and it's all good. I mean, there's even the smallest ones to the big outfits like Red Truck and
Big Rock. And then you find the very, very rudimentary ones like Storm, which I always use as an example. What James has been able to create from the equipment he's got, and this is like the Sanford and Son cast-off junkyard, the stuff that he's got, but he manages to make some pretty unique beers.
Yeah, and I think the interesting thing is, again, using, let's say, Bridge Brewing and Red Truck. At Red Truck, you see the production line, pretty automated. Everything is kind of rolling along. And then you go to another smaller place, and there's guys there putting caps, in the machine to be bottled, basically. And you think, wow, how can they sustain this? But it's working. So that's the main thing.
Well, another thing, Corey. I mean, you and I have been, we've been sharing elbows in bars for many a year, and it's kind of interesting to see how. A couple of guys decide, hey, how can we get some beer? I know, let's blog on it. Why didn't we think of that years ago?
Because we're just not that smart, Joe. However, I find it interesting, the visual medium that you guys speak of, because lest we forget, gentlemen, Just Here for the Beer used to be a video show. And it's interesting to see how the visual works. A lot of people just think all you need is the sound of clinking glasses, but that's not how it works. Have you guys ever had any obstacles put in your way as far as people not wanting you in there, seeing what's going on, giving away their secrets, or is everyone pretty open to having you in their doors?
No, everybody's pretty open. They just... they open the doors. They show us, what they're doing in the back. Everybody's pretty open about it.
Yeah, well, it's interesting because, again, when you talk about some of the higher-end places like Big Rock and Red Truck, I mean, if I had those facilities, I'd want everybody to see them as well. I mean, they're pretty impressive. Now, you guys do these blogs. How can people find out more about the Barley Boys?
We're we're on YouTube. Barley Boys.
Barley Boys.
If they type that in on YouTube, the first couple of things they're going to see are probably a bluegrass group from Kentucky. That's not us.
Okay, yeah. Didn't think so.
So there's the YouTube. We have a Twitter page and on Facebook as well. So there's plenty of ways that they can kind of keep in touch with us if they want.
If you want to see some really cool behind the scenes of what the breweries look like and a couple of guys that just enjoy walking into tasting rooms and catching these people off guard, check out the Barley Boys on YouTube. Thanks, guys. Cheers.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Joe.